You're very welcome back now. Over 13,000 Ukrainian refugees have arrived into Ireland to date. Around 75 people are being housed in Tiglin Charity in Greystones, County Wicklow.
So let's go to Alan, who's there to find out more. Morning, Alan.
Good morning, Muireann. Yes, thank you very much. We are in the Coolnagrina Centre here in Greystones, and as you said, it is run by Tiglin, and I'm joined now by Aubrey McCarthy, who is the chairman of Tiglin, and also to Katya, who fled Ukraine and the war there. Good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Aubrey, can we start with you then, and why you decided? Tell us about Tiglin, first of all.
Tiglin was set up as a charity. I set it up in 2008, along with a few other friends, to help people who were vulnerable, people that had come undone in life. As President Higgins put it at one of our openings, people who have had their participation in life disrupted for whatever reason. Initially, with my own family background, I did it to help people in addiction. But then we found that we were helping families, we were helping women in trauma, we were helping children coming out of trauma. So it grew into a bigger charity. And really what we do is we offer residential facilities and we also offer daycare programs. We then purchased this property last year in order to house women coming from our residential programs, so that they'd be able to have a transitional accommodation. And as you have seen from the accommodation in Coolnagrina, this is called the Rise at Coolnagrina, the facility lends itself to a number of community activities. So we now have a retreat centre, which is the new centre behind us, and this is the older building. So we're going to house the women from Tiglin, as our plan was, in this building that you're in now.
But you decided then to open the centre behind you to Ukrainian families.
We were going to do family retreats, etc. And we sort of said, well, stall that for the moment and we'll just see what the need is. So I rang Liam O'Dwyer, whom I know from the Red Cross, who we've worked with before. And I said, how big is this need? So Liam said, it's big. So I said, okay, well, can we take a family or two? So we got talking and I showed the facility and I said, okay, we can probably do more. So let's see what we can do as an organisation.
And how many families do you have now?
Okay, so we're going to have 24 families
24.
With 75 people.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Katya, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Where are you from in the Ukraine?
Well, I live in the south of Ukraine, in beautiful city, Odessa.
Odessa.
Yes, it's near the sea like Greystones. Yeah. Yes.
And tell me then, why did you decide, or when did you decide to leave? Was your city being bombed?
Well, I left Ukraine when I saw the Russian ships on the horizon, and they fired bombs near our city.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was air sirens.
The air, yeah?
Yes, almost.
And did you have to go to the undergrounds?
Yes, we are. Yes, me and my daughters, my family, my parents. Yes, we sit on the ground.
You have two daughters. How old are they?
Yes, I have a teenager, Eva, she's 14, and my youngest daughter, 5.5, is Alexandra.
So when the shelling happened and you're in the undergrounds and you just decided, we have to get out of here.
Yes, we have to get out, and we traveled across the whole country on evacuation.
You got a train, you got one of the trains that was leaving. We've seen those pictures of all the families getting on the trains.
Horrible.
Was it like that? Was it packed with people just getting on?
Yes, it was very difficult, yes, and it was most difficult trip in our lives. It was a nightmare, you know. It was, train was full of people and there was no place to sit in.
Yeah.
And people standing all night, or many people sit on the floor. Yes, and
because it get across the whole country. It took hours and hours and hours. It's not just like a small train journey.
Yes,
this was totally all overnight, and people standing or just lying on floors on the train.
It is.
And your parents decided that they wanted to stay in the Ukraine.
Well, they stay. Yes, they couldn't. They. That was very difficult, like I also said before, and it old people.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they said they
decided to
just-
stay.
they want-
But
they
my
want to
brother
stay.
with them. Yes, yes.
And your brothers, like many men in the Ukraine now, they volunteered and they're helping
Yes.
with the cause there at the moment. Are you in touch with your parents and your
Yes,
brother?
thank God. Yes, I.
And how
am
are they?
touched. Well, they're okay. It's almost okay for this
the moment, it's
the
quiet
moment,
there,
Yes,
yeah.
quiet, yes, because
There's not
our
much shelling,
army
yeah.
and ordinary people are fighting. Yes, Ukrainians are very strong people. Yes.
And you're lucky that your husband is able to be here with you, because not a lot of families have their husbands with you.
Yes.
Because your husband was a truck driver, so he was actually out in driving in Europe
Yes,
when all this
very
happened.
lucky. Yes, we're lucky. Yes, he wasn't in Ukraine when the war started. Yes, and we are together right now. Yes.
So where did you end up? You went to Poland, didn't you? You went to Poland?
Yes, in few days we lived in a volunteering center. Yes, it's a big
And then
place.
you decided that you would come to Ireland.
Yes.
So when you arrived here, you had no idea where you would end up.
No. When we arrived, no. At the airport, they took us to the taxi, and we just left.
And you
Yeah.
arrived here
Yes,
in
yes,
beautiful
it was
Greystones.
late evening, yes, and the taxi is here, yes, and when the doors opened, yes, and there was Aubrey, and he said, you are very welcome. It was so sincerely he said that I understood that everything is gonna be great now. It's very beautiful place in here.
It's great for you and your daughters and your husband that you're here together, but you must be so worried for your parents and your brother still in the Ukraine.
Yes, of course I worried. Yes. I hope everything is going to be right for the soonest possible. Yes,
yeah.
and yes, everything is going to be okay.
And so, how are you settling in here? Because I know you were saying while you were in the Ukraine, your daughters were having nightmares every night, and they were obviously not sleeping. The sirens were going off. How have they settled in here now?
Well, they are great. It's such a peaceful place, and yes, at Ukraine they have nightmares, and I couldn't sleep at all. But when we came here in Kulnagrina at first night, we slept like babies.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a healing place,
And your daughter's already started school?
Yes, my oldest daughter started, yes, and she's very enjoyed. It's such great people here, and I want to thank all the Irish people for their support and their helping. It's mean a lot to Ukrainians. Thank you so much.
I know it's very early, but do you think you will stay here, or would you like to go back to your city and go back to Ukraine?
Well, it's a difficult question because it's such a great
too early,
place.
yeah.
Yes. Of course, I want most important in my life to see my family and to see my parents. But there's such a great place in here. Of course, I think about to stay here. I didn't decide it right now.
Nobody
It's a great
decided
place.
this, Katya. Nobody decided this. Yeah. Listen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Aubrey, you're doing an amazing job here in Tiglan, the charity, doing an amazing job. And like even other people I've spoken to here already this morning, they're sort of saying that they've been so welcomed here by you and everybody in Greystones. And I suppose everybody in Ireland has opened their arms and are trying to do what we can. So thank you both very much for joining us. Back to studio.
Thanks very much, Alan. Yeah, amazing. I mean, you just couldn't think of the nightmares those children must have.
No, the trauma.
To think that what they've gone through.
Happening so quickly. We're talking about just over a month. Like 6 weeks ago, everything was normal.
And to come over here and of course to be in Greystones now as well, seem to really enjoy. The kids are going to school and stuff as well. We have a message in already from a lady here in Bray who said that she is offering free English lessons to refugees as well. I mean, the Irish people have been so welcoming and we love getting those messages in. Please do keep coming them in as we keep going back to Alan in Greystones.
Absolutely. Of course, in our refugee system, there was 8,000 people for a long, sustained period of time. And all of a sudden, I think we're at over 14,000 Ukrainians had arrived as of yesterday. So it's very interesting. We'd love to hear your thoughts. 0896 111 111. And still to come, we bring you the top stories making today's headlines.
And of course, up next, we're going to discuss Ireland's response to the Ukraine crisis and how this country